Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video tour. In this session we're going to be looking at the browser application. So here we are looking at the browser application. This is served from the same server that stores all the rest of the information connected to by the normal software application, but of course nothing is required as an install here. The pages are simply served up to the user on the device. And because this is a browser application with no particular component requirements, it means it can be run on any sort of device. So it can be run on a smartphone, on a tablet, and that doesn't matter whether it's an Android or an Apple device. It can be run from any sort of computer that uses a browser. And it makes it really simple for users to interact. So there's no requirement to pull down or deploy the client or understand whether they've got permissions or anything of that type. All they need to know is how to get to it and how to log on, or whether they've got permissions to log on. So we've got to the interface, and here we can see it's requiring me to log in, and that is not always the case though. We can be using single sign-on, so it picks up your Windows account, in which case it would already be showing when you came to the page here your details and that you were logged in. But for me, I need to log in, so I can do that here. And now we can see that I'm logged in. It remembers the last things I came to, portfolio and project, so I can immediately go off and start using the tools that are here. But more normally we're going to be coming in to the projects tab and picking up the portfolio and project we're interested in. And this is, we could think of this very similar to the project picker that we have in the software application. It gives us the lists of the portfolios and the projects that we've got access to, again, based on our permissions in those particular areas. And as I pick those items, I then see the data that we have held for each of those. So here, if we pick a particular project, we can see status and commentary and properties that have been completed for it, as well as the properties that are populated from the system. So those loaded from spreadsheets, those calculated from the project controls database, like number of risks and issues and things of that type. And from here it encourages to do one of two things: working with documents or viewing reports. We can of course jump to any of these other areas up here, but if we first go and look at working with documents, and we've got a very similar view here to the one that we might have got in the software application again. All users, irrespective of whether they're view only or team or manager type licensed users, get this same view, and it allows you to navigate the process in the same way as before and to see the documents and files there and explore them obviously in further detail. Of course, what you actually are going to get depends on your permissions. So if you only have view only permissions, then you'll only be able to view the content within the files. If you have a higher permissions level, you might be able to, and a higher license level, you might be able to check it out or send it to other people or do all sorts of things. But low level users may only be able to view it. If they don't have access to some documents in this permissions sense, they'll have less things visible. So you'll only see the things that are visible to you, that you have more than no access on. And once you're in here, you can do many of the same sorts of things. We can view or send copies of the historical versions of the file. We can view or send copies of the current version of the file. We can check it out. We can check it out to email, obviously dependent on permissions. We can get our hyperlinks to this file and share those with other people. At the document level, we can email the document, we can add a file. Of course, because this is a browser, we don't have the same drag and drop interaction with the desktop. So if we want to add new things, we do need to use the add file dialog to browse to the file we're interested in, or to paste the link of the internet shortcut, etc. into here. We can't drag and drop them on. When we want to send files out to work on, we're going to be using the SMTP interaction, so we can't interact with the local Outlook here, so the send will essentially be done from the server. There's talked a little bit more about this in the emails tour as well, but we'll form up the email here, sending it to the person that we're interested in, copying it to other people we're interested in. We'll use your sender address that we hold for you, and then you will get a copy of this email into your inbox. So you get a copy in your local email, but you just don't get it in your sent. So we send it on your behalf and give you a copy of it. And it'll of course attach the files, and you can type in here whatever you want to. So slightly different approach to using the normal Outlook, but it still works pretty well. When we're checking files out to work on, of course, because again we don't have the interaction with a local desktop, we can't pick up a checkout folder and manage all that side of it for you. You have to choose the location where you check the file out, and then when you check back in, you need to browse to find the file to check it back in. Now of course, when we're on some devices, we won't necessarily have permissions, or we won't necessarily have the device having the capability to manage that sort of thing. Not all devices will support a file management system to enable you to put it in a location and then browse it back in from a location. You should be able to do view fine, as long as you have something capable of an app capable of opening the particular file you're interested in. But checking it out and checking it back in might be a little more challenging on platforms with a file management system, like a computer, an Apple Mac, an Ubuntu system, something like that, or a more sophisticated tablet. Then that should be no problem at all. So we can work our way through this process, working on the content in exactly the same way as we have done before. The other sorts of things we can get in here nice and easily are team lists. We can see who's working on our project. We can contact them, get contact details for them if we want that. If they've got other than the sort of standard, if they've got other contact modes available, they'll be shown as well. And then we can go off and find some information about the project itself in terms of task risk issues. We can get dashboards for it, all again depending on the sorts of license and permissions that we have. So for all users, they can get their task risk and issue information. If we come to tasks, it's gone to all my tasks. So for me as a user, with a global default view, and there we can see every task across all the projects that I'm supposed to be working on, both as a Gantt chart and as a task list. And I can switch these items on and off if I want to. I can just go to task list, just the Gantt chart, or both as it is here. And of course I can now use the views that are available to me, either my views or global views, to come in and do some sort of cutting and analysis of that. So I can come in and look at my overdue tasks, for example. There we go, so just the overdue ones. And of course, if I want to see a particular task details, I can click in on here to go and get those particular task details. Exactly the same sort of thing with risks and issues. So let's have a look at issues. We normally tend to focus on the risks first. So here's all my issues across all the different projects that I'm personally involved in. I could go and look at my top 10 issues by severity if I wanted to instead. There we've got those, and of course I can switch on and off these various bits of items of analysis if I'd like to, and I can come in and look at the particular issue here. So that's reasonably straightforward thing to be able to do, nicely set up to make it easy to do from a device, even from a mobile phone. There's not too much here in terms of things to switch on and off and fine detail. Of course, you have to use the views that are pre-saved, and this is where administrators can come in really useful to create the sort of views, the sort of analysis people want to do, and provide those as global available views for people to use here. So working with approvals is the next thing we're going to have a look at. As I come into here, I can see any approvals for the current project that I'm required to be involved in, and I can see I've been involved in this one a little bit already. I've done some approving of that. It's waiting to be worked on to be completed as an approval exercise. Or once I'm in here, I can go to all projects, and it's going to go away and give me all the approvals across all of the projects that I'm supposed to be interacting with. So we've got those there, and I can see which ones I've not yet voted on and go in and have a look at those. So keeping me in touch with those key important things. Coming back over to think about reporting for a little while, we've got dashboards, portfolio and project reports. These are only available to people with a manager license. So if I come and look at the dashboard, for either the current portfolio or project, I can run one of the pre-saved report types. We've got some portfolios here, we've got some projects here. I can see that somebody has saved a sort of custom report type there. I could pick that up and run that against my product launch project if I wanted to, or I could go away and run a portfolio resources report. So I've got all those pre-saved reports, and this is again where administrators can help out a lot in the main application by preparing the sort of reports that people want to use here nice and easily. And then from a tablet, it's very easy to say, let's have a look at the quarterly resources for the projects in this portfolio, either create to populate in this page or creating a new window, which is particularly useful when we're thinking about devices, because these browsers tend to maximize very nicely in a device environment. So you get the whole report in the available space, and you can then zoom in and out as you need to. So here's my resources for this portfolio, quantized by quarter here. And of course, once I've got this, I can open it in a new window if I want to from here. So that's quite good. Exactly the same sort of thing with portfolio and project report, apart from we can actually choose the elements we want to put into our report. So we did a little bit of this on the reporting tour as well. I can come through, pick the particular things I'm interested in here, like that, and what I want to put into my task area, which might be overdue tasks, and what I want to have in my issues area, which might be top 10 issues by severity. Again, we're using these views because it's nice and easy to do. And then it's going to go away and build me that custom report. Again, great when I'm out of the office, forgotten to do my report, somebody asked me for the latest status on a project. I can produce this straight away. I can now come and view the report, and if I want to, I can then publish it back into the project. And our publishing routine, as we talked about in the reporting tour, is that it will then send automatically notification to a preset list of people with a link so that they can then view that new report. So you can get it and distribute it just from your mobile phone. Exactly the same idea with portfolio reports. Now, I've mentioned a number of times about getting to this device. You know, if you know the URL for it, for the home page, you can have that stored as a favorite and get here nice and easily. But for many people, they're going to come to it because they're led to it from perhaps some sort of notification. Okay, so here's our email inbox. We've had a couple of notifications. I've got one here which is providing me with some details about tasks, risks and issues I need to be aware of. And when I receive something like this, I can simply click on the item to go and find out about the issue itself, or go to the project page. So let's go to the issue first. Of course, it wants to know who I am to verify that I've got access. If I was using single sign-on, I'd get straight to this form, but as I'm not, I need to just verify who I am. I've got the issue information and the response information. If I instead wanted to go and look at the project itself, it would take me to the project home. Now I'm logged in this browser session, it remembers that for me, so one-time login. And of course I can see the same things for tasks and for risks as well. And once I'm here, of course, I can go off and do further things. So that's a very common way of keeping people in touch. Because both things, you know, our emails are available to us usually via the internet connection from our tablet or smartphone, I can then use exactly the same connection again to get back to my server and see that latest detail. I might also be having a document type notification. Here's one showing me about a check-in of a file. It could be sent to me to tell me about a status change in an approval exercise or the addition of a new report. And I have, as well as the details sent to me, the links to enable me to go off and see that particular document, either to open the file or to see its place in the Explorer, where it takes me specifically to that point, rather than giving me all the documents for the project. It's taking me to the particular one that I'm interested in, that particular document and that particular file. So keeping you in touch with things from reminders. So the browser application, nice and easy to get to and to use. It doesn't have administration, it won't do absolutely everything that you can do in the software application, but you can get to it really very quickly and easily. And the other thing is, once we're here, if we're here and on a Windows PC, we can then come to our resources tab, and from here we can download and set up the software application, the Windows application, or indeed Planner if we wanted to do that. So this isn't just an end point, it can be then the starting point for going on and doing more. And in particular with the Portable Run Once clients, we can do that even if we don't have admin permissions on the local machine. Okay, so that was a walk through the browser application. I hope you found that helpful. If you want to know further things about that, you can obviously contact us, or the reporting and document management tours cover those particular areas again. Okay, thank you very much.